Welcome back once again to the another session of this series, and here we are going to discuss about fill and stroke options and their property. So let's continue. Initially, we need to choose any size of the page and then for the click to create button. Once the artboard is ready, then after we are going to explore the feature of the fill and the stroke. So when you come to the tool panel set, here we have the fill. X is the shortcut that we can use to switch between the fill and the stroke. Fill color is by default white inside Illustrator. And then after we can see the black. This is the stroke or we called outline. Stroke is equal to outline. Fill is equal to color inside the shape and the graphics. By default, we can get these two. If you click to this fill color, one single click to select. But when you double click, instantly we get the color picker options to choose any one of the color. You have this slider that you can use to go with the color. And then further, when you click, we have options to choose the shades of the color, the tint that we can define. This is one option. You can choose any color randomly. Click on OK. That color is selected in the fill color section. Even if you are using any shapes from here, when you drag to create, since we have the fill color is active and the color is already specified, according to that we have the new color is added. If you have the selection of the shape is ready, and when you do any changes to the color, that instantly replaced the previous color with the new one. The color of the stroke that we can see, that is black here. When you now click, double click, and then further we can choose any other color that may be the same or that may be the different one. Click on OK to confirm. If you zoom in, then further we can see since the thickness of the stroke is very light, the color is also visible. Increase the stroke amount from here, stroke weight. So this is 1 point. We have 3 different ways through which we can change the number. Okay, so one option is click to the arrow. In the upside, the value that gonna increase, and we can see the changes clearly. When we click to the downside also, we can see the number that gonna decrease. The second option is you can click here and use any one of the number which is given here. Suppose 14 point. And the third option is you can click to this and then for the input any number. Suppose you have requirement to set the stroke weight to 4. So any one of the options that we can choose accordingly, we can do these changes from here. Stroke, right? This is one option to fill and define the color for the stroke. Now you have requirement to switch the color from the fill to the stroke and stroke to the fill. After selection of the shape, when you click on this one, swap fill and stroke color, shift F, and want to use the shortcut shift X, or directly we can click. With this way, what happened, the fill color that switched to the stroke color and the stroke color switched to the fill color, vice versa. We can click again and do this. If you use the X button, X is used to set the position of the fill and stroke upside downside X. And when you press the D to default color, default means the black and white color. So we can either use the D or from here also we can click. And this small icon default fill and stroke. So no matter what color that you have selected, when you click to this default color, you get black and white color. This is the property of the fill. We have so many ways through which we can define the color. What you color in set to the fill, these all are called single color or the solid color. Solid means one single shades of the color. So whatever you see over here, the same shades of the color is filled inside the shape. Double click one more time. And inside the color picker, we have few more options. That is HSB, hue, saturation, brightness. We have RGB, that is red, green, blue. We have CMYK, cyan, magenta, yellow, and key. So K indicate the black color. And one more options we have is the hash code. So whenever you are choosing any color, suppose I'm selecting this particular color and this color is going to use in our whole design. Maybe you are working in a project and you just need to share the file, the main file, or sometimes you get the color code from your colleague, from the client, the same color code they want for designing the graphics. What you do now in this case, just use this hash code, because hash code is always the same no matter whatever the color that you have selected. Every time you have one hash code, and if you are going to copy and paste this code and share with your colleague, share with your client, they also use the same code, and then further the same shades of the color they are using in the whole design. There is no difference in the color. This is one option. We also choose the number. If you have clarity regarding this, how many percentage that you want to use to mix the shades of the color, I'm going to suppose choose the orange color, that kind of the requirement we have. So I set this yellow amount to suppose 100%. We can set this magenta and cyan to 0. So 100% yellow color that we can see clearly. If you increase the amount of the magenta just above the 60%, you slowly and gradually change the number to get the orange shades of the color. If I make it 80%, you can see now we have the orange shades, but that is darker. Okay. If I make it 60 only, you can see now it's orange color. So you can just input any number and then further you can get the changes also. I set it to 0 now. We can increase it to 50. So we have the green shades of the color. You want to use the light green, just go with the suppose 30-35%. We have lighter green. If you increase the number, I make it 85. You can see now we have the dark shades of the green color. And in the same way, in case if you want to use the gray shades of the color, so the amount of the gray also that we can input. If we set this one to 100%, 100% means the black one. When we use the light shades of the color, that is the lighter shades of the gray, 10% used, 50% that is used. So you can also share this information with your colleague, with your friends, so that they can input the same number to get the same results. Or the best approach is, instead of remembering all these, just you can use this code and share with your friend, right? This is how it will work, and we can very easily choose any single solid color inside the Illustrator from this panel. If you click to active this only wave colors, you also get the colors, but these colors are very much optimized for the wave. You are creating any contents that may be related to any particular designs or the wave UI, the layouting. That time you can choose the colors from here, and you have options to define the specific shades that you can choose. When you click to this, the color is going to highlight over here. So this is a way through which you can define. In a very specific case, we can choose this. Otherwise, randomly we can choose the color from here, and then further we can continue. You also get some informations here. This is the box that indicate you the existing color, and the another one is the new color. So when you choose any color from here, the new color always changed, but the previous color will remain the same. Okay to confirm, and that color is going to apply. Sometimes we need to disable the fill color, only continue with the stroke outline. Suppose I'm changing the amount of the stroke from here, I make it 7, but we are not going to use this the fill color. So since the fill color is in the top side, we can click to none option here. When you click to this, what happens? The fill color is empty. Only the stroke color is used. And then further you can define what color that you want. But sometimes you need to continue with the fill color, not the stroke color. You can also choose this, the solid color from here. One single click to fill that color. Want to disable the stroke color? Click to the stroke that comes in the top side, and then further we can choose the none option with this. When you click one time, and then after we can see in the selected shape the stroke that is going to disable. We also close these color and the color guides that we are going to discuss in detail in the upcoming sessions. Just now for this session, we are going to focus on the fill and the stroke only. We have so many things to discuss. This is how we can do this change. And in case if you want to change the property of the stroke to the uniform line with the dashed types of the line, that is also possible. We can switch the color to the stroke, the weight of the stroke that you can change with this way, like click and click to change the number. Once we increase the amount, I'm going to change the color to the different one, that may be the pink. We can see we have the outline that is highlighted with the blue, that is the default color for this layer. After selection, the pink shades of the outline is just 100% inside. Okay, so you can just go to the stroke, click to this, and then further we can find the option. From here we have more properties of the stroke, the weight of the stroke that we can change with this. We have the cap, we have the corner, we have the align stroke, we have the dashed line, and so many other options are there. Let's understand these feature one by one. Okay, so we have the requirement to shift the position. In this case, the align stroke is going to work. So here we can find the option align stroke that allow you to change the position of the existing stroke. We can choose the first option here, align stroke to center. That means 50% inside, 50% outside of the boundary. We can choose the next option, that is align stroke to inside, 100%. The weight of the stroke that comes inside, you can see the boundary with the blue highlighted lines. We also choose 100% outside with align stroke to outside. You can choose any one of the options accordingly, but this is the one that we can choose in most of the cases, align to center. Now click outside, zoom out. This is a uniform line. We can change the weight of the stroke from here. Want to use the dashed type of the line, we also go with the property here, dashed line. And then further we can see we have the lines are highlighted with the dashed. And also we can change the value. This is 12 point right now. We can make it 18. Click to the next gap. And accordingly, we can see we have the size that gonna changed. If I make it like 50 and click to the next one, in the value, accordingly, we can see the changes are done. Want to continue with multiple, we can increase the amount of the gap with this way. Suppose I'm going to make it 50, click to the next one. There is no change. But if we increase it, make it 80, click to the next one. Accordingly, we can see the gaps in between the shapes. We can use multiple dashed line. Suppose the second one that I'm going to add, but the size that I can change to 10 only, and click to the next one. So with this way, we have the kind of the line with the dashed. If the value that we can change to suppose 30 and click to the next one, accordingly the size also that gonna changed. So this is 50, this one is 80, and the gap is 80, and this one is 30. So this is how we can define actually the weight of the stroke. And accordingly, in case if you want to change the gaps too, we can make it like suppose 80 degree, 80 point, and then also we can make it 20. So what is the requirement you have? Accordingly, you can define. Okay, we can choose these two types, the one and the second one, to see the difference. Like these two types of the dashed lines we have. If you click to this one, here we have different profile of the line. The same option is available over here, uniform. So we can choose any one from this. If you want to disable the dashed line, you can simply click to this one and disable the profile that we can understand with the help of the line segment tool. So suppose I'm dragging and creating a line, select the line, go to the profile. Inside this, we have by default different width options are there. So when we click to apply to the one, that instantly changed. Let's understand with the black shades of the color that gives us better results. Increase the amount of the weight of the stroke. And then further we can see clearly we have the starting point, end point that gonna squeeze. So the width of the line that gonna changed from the uniform to the different one as per the profile that we have selected. Any one of the option that you can select, this is width profile 3, profile 4, profile 5, and profile 6, and so on. So whenever you are clicking to select any one of the options from here, accordingly the changes that we can see clearly. Want to continue with the basic uniform that you can select from here. And not only this, even we have so many different options are there that we can also choose from this section. So click to select, and the kind of the line we have here, increase the weight of the stroke with this way. Now click once. We can also just go with another type of the effects that we need. We have so many different options that we can find inside the stroke gallery that we can discuss inside the brush sections, because brush is also considered over here. Different types and the styles of the content we have. I'm selecting the basic uniform line, and then further we can increase the amount of the stroke weight. Starting point, end point, we have the same type of the line. Want to create the arrowhead, in this case we can just click to the stroke, and here we can find the arrowheads. So you can now click and then further choose one head. In the next side we can choose the, go to the downside, we have so many different options are there. We can choose any one so that we have the changes that is required that we can optimize. Also change the weight of the stroke so that we have the arrow that gonna changed. And this is completely editable. So whenever you have the selection of this, you can change the angle also. Selection. And then further from here, we can choose the convert selected anchor points to the smooth. And we can then further change the amount of the angle, and accordingly we have the changes that is done. And the same concept that is applicable with the stroke and the path that we can create with the help of the pen tool. The fill color is none, stroke is the black only. We can simply click, and randomly I'm creating the path. So if you have such requirement to create the type of the curves, and there we have the path is required, you can also use this concept. Use the direct selection tool. We are dragging and selecting the one, and then further we can make changes into the curve amount, changing the positions also, and the amount of the curvature that we can manage with the help of these handles. Use the selection tool. We can now drag to select overall. Click to the stroke, and then further we can just go to the arrowhead. We can change the type of the arrowhead that we are needed. And at the end also we can do the changes to the pointer like this. So with this way we can see we have random types of the line and the curves that we can create and do changes with the help of the stroke property. So these all comes under the stroke category section. And if you want to use the dashed type of the line instead of the regular one, you can again go with the same options to choose the dashed line and then further do the changes that is needed. And yes, we have the curve that is ready with this way. So these are some key feature that we can find with the stroke that we can use and do the changes, right? Even in the basic shape also we have the stroke. If you click and then further we can see we have the previous one is directly applied to this graphic. We can make changes and customize it through these setting options. If we disable the dashed line, now we have the uniform type of the line. And in these star corners also we have the hard, very harsh type of the corner. So selection, go to the stroke to make it rounded, choose the corner. Corner basically helps us to work with these three. By default, we get the metal join, which is basically like the kind of the edge we have. We can also choose the round cap. With this, we can see we have the corners are rounded. That give you the better results in terms of their smoothness. We also choose the bevel join. So yes, we have the join with the cut to the end. It's very rare to use actually, but yeah, we can use this one most of the time, rounded. Okay, so this is how we can do these change. And if you want to use any one of the profile from here, the same that process you can follow, click to and change the value. And then further we can just change the weight of the stroke. Inside this we have the thickness is very lesser, and here we have more thickness as compared to this side. And in the same way, if you change the profile to something else, accordingly we can see the results. You just need to click to the one, and then further you can analyze the difference between before and after. Selection, and then further we can delete. So these are the changes that you can do and customize it. We can also fill the color in these shapes inside the shape. Switch the color from the fill to the stroke or stroke to the fill very easily with this way. From here also we can find all these options to fill the color inside the shape. You can choose any one of the color from this panel. One single click to apply. Yes, we have few more options are there regarding these property that we can explore in the upcoming sessions when we are going to discuss about the single solid color and the gradient. So once we have the clarity, then after it's very easy for you to choose any one of the options from there. The same panel, the swatches panel is available in the right side. In properties, we have the appearance. When you click to this, we can find these options for the fill. And even if you go to the window, inside this we have the swatches panel. So that basically is a separate panel for the color selection, swatches. We have all the colors. We can click to the one and that color is going to filled into the shape. And we can also find some of the options to do the changes in the list form. You can see the code of the color and the value and the amount also we can change. Want to change the size also? Click to the more options. Here we have the small thumbnail, medium thumbnail, large thumbnail. So these are basically the category. Since the fill color is active in the top side, so whenever we choose any color that is going to fill into the shape. But if you want to switch the color from the fill to the outline, so what you do now, just click to the stroke that comes in the top side and then further we can choose any color from here. Yes, we have options and we can see clearly we have the edges are highlighted with that color only. The weight of the stroke that also we need to change in this case just to highlight the stroke weight. So just click and click to do this change and then further we can create some random types of the graphics, and this is just one example. So this is all about the fill and the stroke property that we can find inside the Illustrator software, and now I hope you have clarity regarding this. We'll discuss about the single solid color, the gradient and the other features of the fill that is going to discuss in the upcoming session. For now you can fill the one single color, or even if you want to use any image or the clipping mask feature, that is possible. So suppose we have the line that we can create one single line right now, and we are going to make copy of this by holding the alt and drag. We can do copy, duplicate, control D to duplicate multiple times. We have all the shape that is selected, selection of all, and then further we can drag. Also, in case if you want to rotate, you can do that, and we can choose any one of the shape that may be the ellipse tool we can use to create the circle like this. We are changing the size and then further filling the color, any one of the color that we can fill to this, the weight of the stroke that we can set to none. And then further we are going to drag and select overall, right click and then further choose the option make clipping mask. So clipping mask concept we discussed already in detail in the previous class, but here just I show you in case if you want to fill anything inside the shape that may be a line or any graphic or the image, you can use the clipping mask too. We are not restricted with the color only. We have options to fill the color, fill the image and so on, right? So these are some ways through which we can manage the fill and the outline inside the Illustrator software. We'll discuss about the color property in the upcoming sessions.